NEMOPHILA is an absolutely BA all-girl metal band from Japan. Some people refer to them as a supergroup because their guitarists come from other popular bands, Mary's Blood and Lisa X, but every member of this band helps make them a supergroup. I'll have a special focus on the drummer later in this video, but before I go on, I need to clear something up. For months, every time I've referred to the drummer, I've been confused whether I should call her Murata Tamu or Tamu Murata, but thanks to help from some of you, including Waterwalker who made this request, I now understand that Murata Tamu is her nickname because it kind of sounds like a drum fill, and I've been saying it wrong because a lot of times in Japanese, U's are very short, almost silent sounds, so it's more like Murata Tam. So I'm sorry to Murata Tam and everyone else for getting that wrong so many times. But again today, thanks to Waterwalker who made this request on my website, which is always linked below, I'm doing a deep dive into the song Raitei by NEMOPHILA. And Waterwalker is a fellow drummer, and he's particularly interested in the analysis of Murata Tam's work in this. So at the end, I'll be doing a special deep dive into her work on the drums, but first I'm just going to talk about the song overall. This song grabs your attention right away with this cool stutter effect made by taking a clip and cutting little bits of silence into it to give it that choppy sound. And then it has like a frequency sweep that makes it sound almost like a wah. Now the main guitar riff makes great use of the 0-3-5-6 minor dissonance scale that many awesome riffs like Smoke on the Water or Psycho by Muse are played with. The 0 and the 6 are perfectly dissonant notes, with the 6 being right between the perfect 4th and perfect 5th. I'll play this riff slowly so you can hear just the guitar. You may have noticed it sounded weird. This song's actually played on a 7-string guitar in B standard, and I only have 6 strings on all my guitars, so I had to transpose it into E standard. So it's 5 notes higher than the original. Now the chord played right before the verse is another perfectly dissonant chord because it's only 1 note away from the root note, which is always harsh when they're played together because the wavelengths interfere with each other so much. But in metal, playing them in succession gives the music a really edgy sound, like in Metallica's Enter Sandman going from E to F.
Sorry, Marshy, but it's my birthday. I'm 1 year old. My name's Nibbles for new Fluffy Puff Marshmallows Bite Size.
All new Fluffy Puff Bite Size Nibblers are perfect for
What? And the verse riff also has this really cool metallic sound. Some nearly pinched harmonics, and this riff actually uses the same note intervals as the riff at the beginning of Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi. Except this time it's... So onto the pre-chorus, it returns again to this cool dissonant sound going from the main root chord up to the relative 6th fret dissonant chord. But this chord resolves itself to non-dissonant harmonic chords going up to the 5th on the first pass and then down to the 4th on the second pass. Like I said before, that dissonant chord is only 1 note from both of them. So that's an interesting resolve that kind of eases the tension a bit in that part. Again, it repeats the resolve up to the 5th on the second time around, but then it goes straight to the 5th fret perfect 4th and does a chromatic walk down from the minor 3rd back to the root, from the 5 to 3-2-1-0. This phrasing gives it this cool sinister feel, like the overture to Phantom of the Opera. Now to lead into the chorus, it has a really interesting transition, starting on the 5th fret, perfect 4th chord, then ascending another perfect 4th from that chord,
which would be the 7 to the root chord,
before finally launching into the chorus with another dissonant chord they haven't used yet, one note below the previous root chord of the key.
The chorus has a change up halfway through as well. On the 2nd pass, it gets all edgy again, going from the B flat down to G. And it's an interesting sound because the G sits in a weird spot in the major scale that sounds a bit odd because it's not used that often together. So again, adds to the edgy sound, which leads me to the solo near the end of the song. I'm convinced that their goal while writing this song was to use every single note in existence, because during the solo, the rhythm guitar changes key from what has been the root chord thus far up to the 4th fret chord, or the major 3rd, not to be confused with the minor 3rd, which is part of the intro riff and pre-chorus. But the major 3rd's one note higher and hasn't been used yet in this song. Then after that, it goes up another perfect 4th from there to the one other chord that has not yet been used in this song. So I muted the lead guitar in this so you can just hear what the rhythm guitar is playing during the solo. So no repetition until right there. I love how it just dances underneath the solo. But here's where it gets really interesting. Then it changes key again, another perfect 4th. So I just think it's so cool how much flavor the rhythm section adds under the solo during this part, which means every note in existence, according to the 12-note system that we use, has been used in this song. If you don't believe me, I'll quickly explain it as it relates to intervals to the main root chord. So 0 and 12 being the root chords, everything in between are the other notes. So 0, 3, 5, and 6 were all used in the intro riff. 10 was also used in the verse. 7, 2, and 1 were all used in the pre-chorus. 11 and 8 were used in the chorus. And 4 and 9 were both used in the solo. And that's all 12 notes of the B chromatic scale. And again, a chromatic scale is just every note in existence between one note and its octave higher. So that's really dang impressive to write a song that sounds so cohesive and includes all of those notes. It takes some very clever composition. Now the solos in this song, absolutely incredible. It would take me days to really dissect them, but I love Hazuki's shredding and tapping to start it off here. And then her really interesting run right before Saki comes in. I mentioned this before, but the key change when Saki's part of the solo starts is really cool. It caught me off guard and really helped to keep things fresh. Saki absolutely rips it up here. And I really love this Middle Eastern sounding scale she uses right here. But where this solo really shines is when both Saki and Hazuki are playing lead harmony riffs, transitioning into tapping harmonies, which are insanely hard to play in time with another guitarist and make them sound clean and in sync. But they have great chemistry. Now the outro to this song, absolutely mind-blowing. It just slaps you in the face. And I'll talk more about it in the drum section of this video. But they do this variation on the intro riff that uses the same 0, 3, 5, 6 intervals, but they change it to up to the key of D, which is starting on the 3rd fret, or the minor 3rd of the original root note key, and they change up the phrasing to be even more intense. I think this is one of the hardest hitting and highest energy outros I've ever heard, but then again, my memory isn't that good. But either way, you can't deny that this outro is epic. But I'll talk more about it later. The song opens with a heart-pounding rhythm, incorporating a lot of interesting double kick variations in a 4-2-2-4 pattern. On the second pass through the intro, she adds a fun syncopated ride pattern. And E, a 3, and 4, and switching between an offbeat and onbeat feel. Now this pre-verse fill is insane, so I'll just play it for you in slow-mo. I love this fun upbeat rhythm with this dancey hi-hat. Again, she uses an offbeat rhythm for this cymbal on the and of each measure over a syncopated kick drum pattern, accenting the chord progression of the guitars. Halfway through this section, she also switches to a double time pattern. Then there's this fill before the chorus. She plays a couple sextuplet fills with two groups of 4 hand notes separated by a double kick. Speaking of double kick, her work on the kick drum during the chorus is absolutely phenomenal. Then I love how she switches to straight 8th notes on the kick near the end of the chorus here. Again, this fill speaks for itself. Another couple of sextuplets, but this time she does 2 snare, 2 tom, then 2 kick in each fill, then finishes with another powerful 16th note fill to lead into the post-chorus guitar solo. Now during the guitar solo, the band returns to the intro riff and beat. This fill is really neat because it's straight 16th notes, but she changes up the accents to highlight the guitar lick. The second verse is pretty much like the first verse, but she does add these really simple cymbals just to add a little bit of spice. I also love this little tom fill she adds into the second pass of the pre-chorus. Just little bits of spice. But of course, like a great drummer does, Muratatamu also provides a solid backbeat for the solo. But she still keeps it interesting by adding a ride into her groove. Then again, during the same solo part, she changes up the beat again, switching back to the straight 8th notes, or I guess you could call it an 8 on the floor kick pattern. As if that wasn't enough, she does another insane fill leading into another groove change, playing snare on the downbeat with double kick playing around between the beats. She ends the solo with the same fill she ended the first chorus, but I have to play it again because it's just so BA. The drums cut out right here, creating a nice dynamic, but then she comes back in with a fill that grows in intensity as it goes, giving it such an interesting sound. Now she does more fancy kick work, of course. Then we come to an absolute banger of an outro, starting with a reverse cymbal swell to really increase the power when the drums come back in. Halfway into the outro, Muratatamu again provides an insanely powerful fill that accents the guitar lick and leads into the double kickin', heavy riffin', power screamin' ending. To wrap it up, she does some powerful flammed toms that feel like thunder. Get it? Then the song ends with a great drum guitar unison fill with her insanely fast 16th notes. This song has a tempo of around 210 BPM, so 16th notes for this one are literally insanely fast. So thank you again so much to Water Walker for making this request. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your patience in me making this, and thank you to all of my patrons for helping to support the channel, helping me to keep making videos like this. If you want your own requests, joining my Patreon or visiting my website below are the 2 ways to do that. I have been pretty swamped with requests, but I'm not complaining at all. I really appreciate it. That's what helps the channel keep going. I think that's all I got to say. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to pound that like button, subscribe, and ring that buddy bell, because I plan to make a lot more videos like this. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Just a little more. I don't know if I can take this place.